Ryan Clifford's VR Experience 3 is a brilliant mod pack for Minecraft made by, you guessed it, Ryan Clifford. The mod pack features beautiful landscapes, plenty of additions to make the game look beautiful, and some interactivity mods to make your experience as immersive as possible. Now, what if we built on that? I have put together a fork of his mod pack that does just that. RCVRE3 Expanded is a fork of the original that adds many Vanilla Plus features, and some bigger ones, to expand on this mod pack and make it truly amazing. With mods like Farmer's Delight, Traveler's Backpack, McCall's Mods, Rechiseled, Tom's Storage, a gambling mod, and more, we have made the game truly the most fun VR mod pack you will ever play. And the best part? It's geared towards multiplayer. Set up a server or host worlds for your friends using E4MC, or swap it out for Essential, and you'll have the time of your life. Now, a big note, E4MC from what I know does not work with simple voice chat, however Essential does. I do not know how well either of these mods work with Voxy server. Now, a big thank you to Ryan Clifford for giving me his grace to upload this mod pack to Modrinth. Please go check out his channel with a link in the description below, and if possible you should watch his tutorial video first on how to install his mod pack, because I will not be going into how to optimize this one. This is only the setup. You should go watch his videos on how he made his mod pack and how to optimize it from his tutorials. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, this mod pack is geared towards both desktop and VR gameplay, so if you don't have VR, you can still join in with your friends. Alright, let us get started. So, I do not know if I will have this approved by Modrinth by the time that I have this uploaded, so I will most likely have a link in the description to a Google Drive where I will have the MRPack file saved. Now, if I do eventually get this uploaded to Modrinth, you will find the link to the Modrinth mod pack directly, but for now, unfortunately, I will have to use OneDrive, as Modrinth takes multiple days sometimes to moderate and review our mod packs. So, first you want to do is you want to go down to the description and you want to download the modpack file, or go to the modpack page in the description below and install it in Modrinth. Once you have it installed, there are a few things we need to do. The first thing is to set up our Java arguments, disable a mod, play around with a few of the mod configurations, and all the likes. So, the first thing we are going to be doing is to configure our Java settings. You go up here to the gear icon next to the play button, you go down to Java and memory, and the first text box you will be enabling is Java memory allocation. Now, depending on how much RAM is in your system, you're going to change this value. If you don't know, you want to search about your PC. And if you click there, this menu will show up, and down here we can see installed RAM. I have 32 gigabytes. So, because I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, I'm going to be using 10 gigabytes, but we'll get into that. So if you have 8 gigs of RAM, you are going to be using the number on the screen, which is 4 gigs of RAM. If you have 16 gigs of RAM, you are only going to be using 8 gigs of RAM. Again, the number on the screen. If you have 32 plus or even 24 plus, you want to use a maximum of 10 gigabytes. Why 10? Because Java for some reason hitches and stutters because of garbage collection when you have more than 10 gigabytes allocated to the heap. It's unfortunately just a quirk that Java has that we cannot really do much about. So again, if you have 8 gigs of RAM, you use 4. If you have 16 gigs of RAM, you use 8. And if you have 24, 32, even more than that, you use 10. The numbers will be on the screen. The next thing that we will be doing is we will be pasting custom Java arguments. Now, what these do is these will make sure that Minecraft or Java is optimized to run without hitches and stutters. So you're going to enable the custom Java arguments. You're going to copy the Java arguments that I have pasted in the description below, and you're going to put them in this menu here. Now, Ryan originally did not know what these did, so if you want to stick around, I can explain them quickly for you. If you don't, you can jump to the timestamp on the screen. So, UseZGC. What this does is this tells Java to use the Z garbage collector, which is faster than the normal garbage collector that Java typically uses. This helps prevent stutters. Next, we have AlwaysPreTouch. What this does is this pre-allocates all the RAM that Minecraft is going to be using directly as is, so that Minecraft doesn't have to dynamically reallocate and change its memory usage all the time. This also helps with stutters and makes the game run smoother. The final one is UseStringDeduplication. This prevents multiple duplicate strings of text or data or whatever in memory, and this theoretically reduces memory usage and can potentially speed things up, although this does have the added downside of a bit of CPU overhead, but it really is not noticeable. Alright, now that we have these set up, I need to set this value. Now that we have this set up, we can now go and disable one mod. There is only one mod that unfortunately is still giving us issues, and the developers are working to fix it, but until then we're going to have to disable it. In the mod menu, you want to search Slabbed. Slabbed is a mod that allows you to place other blocks on top of slabs, but unfortunately it's giving some pretty severe rendering issues, and it's just unfortunately a mod we will have to disable for now. So you're going to go here and you're going to disable that right there, if it isn't already. The next thing you're going to do is kind of play around with a few of our mod configurations. Most of these mods are client-side, except for the ones that add more content. So if you prefer Essential over E4MC, if you prefer Essential over E4MC, you're going to disable E4MC and go to Browse Content and search for Essential. And then from here you can install the Essential mod. Now personally, I prefer E4MC, so I'm going to re-enable E4MC. And the other mod is Journey Map. Journey Map does work, or I guess you can even use Zero's minimap, but Journey Map does work with VR. It is just a little bit janky. So if you prefer Journey Map over the Locator Bars mod, which I have added in this mod pack, you can go search, browse content, and then search Journey Map or whatever map you're going to be using. Now, I'm going to use the Locator because I personally want a more vanilla experience where you can kind of just do the exploration, place down a lodestone, and all that stuff. Alright, now that we have done this, we can now finally launch Minecraft. Now that we are in Minecraft, there are a few customizations that we can make and a few other very, very important setups that we have to do. So the first thing that we will be doing is we'll be opening up the options menu, going to VR settings, and then under here, stereo rendering. Now, we have to make sure that desktop mirror is turned off, as Ryan said in the original. Basically, think of your VR headset as two screens, one for your left eye, one for your right eye. Now, rendering two screens, one for each eye, is already incredibly taxing on your hardware as is. If we don't turn off desktop mirror, you will be rendering the game a third time in the Minecraft window, which can really, really hurt performance. Now, if you are a Minecraft streamer or a Minecraft content creator, you could leave this on, but you would need a pretty good computer for this. Or, alternatively, you can use the Steam VR view with left or right eye dominant instead. Personally, that's what I use, that's what I've used to record the clips that you see in the intro, but make sure that if this is turned off, if you know for a fact that your PC can't handle it, or if you don't need it. If you don't need this, you have to turn that off. The next thing we're going to be touching up on is the radial menu. Now, the radial menu is the little menu that you get in VR that allows you to basically map keybinds that you would normally not be able to press since you're not on a keyboard, and use them in VR. So, in my case, I have 8 item sets, and this should be pre-configured for you, but check this anyway. So I have drop selected item, which I'm not going to be using much since we have the VR throw mod. We have quick torch, open chat, open backpack, a blank space, toggle player list, pick block, and voice chat menu. The reason I added the voice chat menu down here is because you're likely going to be accessing this a lot if you have to mute for any reason. Once you have customized this as you see fit, you can go back.
Alright, while editing this video, I did discover a change that we do have to make because the resource pack that Ryan made for compatibility with the Seamless Sleep mod is now obsolete. So what you want to do is you want to click on that search bar up there, then search sleep, and then turn off the sleep effect. That'll do it for you.
Back, and from here we're going to customize the video settings. Make sure that your render distance is turned down to 7 chunks and your simulation distance is turned down to 5. You don't need more than 5 chunks if you're in VR typically, and the reason why we turn the render distance down is because we have voxy. What this basically turns into is how many chunks near you are fully rendered 100% full quality. At 7 chunks, Ryan has discovered that you don't really notice the LOD pop in and the LOD changes of voxy. After that, you have to make sure that you turn VSync off. VSync is evil and it will eat your frames. From here, there's one last thing we can do. You go to shader packs. BSL should already be activated for you. You go down to shader pack settings. Then here you want to go to environment and clouds. make sure that the cloud height is turned all the way up. And the reason why is because if you're standing on a mountain and this isn't turned up, clouds are going to obstruct your view of the beautiful landscape, and it will prevent you from being able to use things like the spyglass to see out far and discover new structures. The other thing that we have to do is go back and go down to color. Color, then you go to lighting color, minimum light, and turn this all the way down if you wish. What this does is this basically enables quote-unquote true darkness, where if it's dark in a cave or in a building, you won't be able to see anything. And the reason why I have this turned up is because in real life, if you're in a cave, if you're in a very enclosed space, there's no light. There's absolutely no way you can see. The only thing you can see is the light that you were bringing with you. Now, this does make cave exploration terrifying, but it does make it more realistic, more immersive, and way more fun, especially with the echo of you and your friends' voices through voice chat using simple voice chat. If you wish to turn this up, you can turn it back up again, but I like true darkness. Now that we have done that, we can apply, done, and apply, and done. The next thing we want to do is adjust our controls. The first keybind that we are remapping is the reload shaders. The reason why you want to change this is because if I don't currently have the tool belt mod enabled because it is giving issues, but if I do eventually add this and you need to open the tool belt for any reason and the tool belt doesn't open because you have to hold R, you will be spammed with like 7, 8, 9, 10 different shader reload events back to back to back, and that will make you very motion sick if you're in VR, or if you're on keyboard and mouse, it'll just slow your computer down. So you want to remap this to something else. I'm going to make mine the equal sign. The other thing that we have to remap is the open ripple config, because this is also the same keybind for your backpack. So you're going to change that from B to backslash or another unused key on your keyboard that you don't really care about. Once you're done, you can click done, and now we have to go down to the resource packs menu.
Once again, in editing, I discovered that Ryan's Seamless Sleep VR compatibility is completely obsolete, so you're going to see me add it here, but you're not going to hear me add it here. Just ignore that resource pack entirely.
Now, it's important that we enable the resource packs in a very specific order so that they work correctly. Now, the order doesn't really matter except for a few mods, but follow along closely. I'll open up your Minecraft, have this video playing in the background. I'll give you a moment to get settled in the resource pack menu. You'll want to scroll down until you find Better Fresher 3D Books VR. And here we go. Bear with me. Enable Better Fresher 3D Books, Bushy Pink Petals, Ender Eyes, FA Plus Player, FA Plus Player Expressions, Fancy Crops, Fresh Flowers and Plants, Fresh Food, Fresh Music Discs, Fresh Ores and Ingots, Gentler Weather Sounds, Mickey Joe's Flowers, O's Colorful Grasses, Retextured Vine, Immersive Interfaces, Vocal Villagers, Torches Reimagined, Biome Watercolor Particles, Terrain Slabs Better Grass Slabs, and then finally, Fresh Animations. The reason why we do it like this is this places Fresh Animations way at the very top so that we know that Fresh Animations will actually work correctly. Now that we've done that, we can click done and let that apply. Now that we are done, we want to go over to the physics settings menu just to ensure that one setting is turned off. I accidentally forgot that this setting wasn't turned off on my server side, and I want to make sure that it's turned off here, because if you don't turn this off, you're going to really regret it. So you go to physics settings, and you go down to collapse, and you have to make sure that collapse blocks is turned off. It should be, but just to be safe, make sure that it's turned off. I have learned a pretty valuable lesson. Now that we're done, we can go back and click on done. We are now done with the settings. Final thing we have to configure is the mods configuration for a few different mods, but that will be very quick and easy. Alright, now I do think I was a little misleading when I said I've got to configure a few mods, but in reality it's only actually one mod that we're going to be configuring. So you're going to go click on the mods menu here, and you're going to be searching Immersive MC. Immersive MC is a mod that adds so many different immersive interactions to the game. You've seen me using it with a crafting table in the intro, and even when I was opening and closing a door. So when you open this menu, the first thing we want to be checking is to make sure that disable immersive MC unless NVR is on. This should already be on because of the configurations that I've set up. However, check it anyway. You have to be sure. You do not want immersive MC working if you're playing on keyboard and mouse. It is a nightmare. So, the first thing we're going to be going to is the customize item guides. The item guides are these little cubes that show up on item slots on the immersive blocks when you are in VR to make it easier for you to tell where you can place an item. Now we have transparent cubes, we have cube outlines, or we have no item guides at all. No item guides does provide the biggest immersion to the mod. However, this does mean it is more difficult to figure out where you're supposed to be placing items in chests, in furnaces, and on the anvil, no matter what. So I personally just keep it on transparent cubes, but you can customize this as you see fit. The next thing is the customized bag. Now I'm going to be using the backpack mod, so I'm going to likely be turning this off entirely. In fact, it probably is already turned off in the configs, but you can customize this if you will be using this. The final thing is enable/disable immersives. I have pre-configured this to make it a little more interesting because I feel like personally, dealing with chests, barrels, furnaces, crafting tables, all of these immersives, which are really cool, mind you, they can get annoying if you have been playing for a little while. Now, you can turn these back on again, but I have this pre-configured. So we have the major immersives like the anvil, the barrel, all that stuff turned off. However, everything else is left alone. So here's a list on the screen of all the immersives that I have turned off. So if you want to go back and turn any of those back on again, if this isn't pre-configured for you, you can do so.
Now, as mentioned before, I will not be going into the optimizations on this mod pack. For that, I want you to go into the description and watch Ryan's original tutorial, as that covers everything you need to know and more. If you're having troubles with this fork specifically, you can join Ryan's Discord server and ping me directly at paradox_derg. And that's all. You are now ready to play the mod pack and enjoy it. I might release a ready-to-use plug-and-play server bundle in the near future that lets you host a custom server for your friends or even publicly. Once again, a big thank you to Ryan Clifford for making the original mod pack. It is unironically the most fun VR mod pack I have ever played before, and I truly hope that everyone who has followed along and has installed this mod pack has just as much fun as my friends and I are. Thank you so much for watching and have a good one.